Let me just tell you this. This is a great kavanah. This can be a big moment at your Seder, okay? So he says, YACHATZ is Gematria 108. And what you're going to do is you're going to break the matzah into 2, which is 216, right? 108 times 2 is 216. Guess what 216 is the gematria of? Gevura. He says that when you break the matzah, you're breaking all of the gevuras, all the decrees, all the obstacles. And not only are you breaking them, but you're putting them on your enemies that they should be broken. So before you do YACHATZ at your Seder, if this resonates with you, you can announce to everybody, we're about to break all of the gevuros in the world. Everyone should have in mind that we're breaking our enemies right now, and that everyone should have in mind, what obstacles do you want broken in your own life? Because we're going to break them right now. Now, he goes further, and he brings something from the Tikkunei Zohar. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with the idea that the 3 matzahs stand for Kohen, Levi, Yisrael, right? But I don't know if you know this Torah. This is from the Tikkunei Zohar. We've got 3 aspects of our soul inside of us, or according to the Vilna Gaon, 2 inside of us and 3 beyond us. But basically, you've got the big 3. What are the big 3? Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. And Ruach is the most important one. Ruach is the most important one. The reason is because here's Neshama, that's like purely good, that's either hovering above you, or according to the Vilna Gaon, when you're doing a mitzvah, like learning Torah, like all of us right now, so then the Neshama enters into you. Okay? So that's really good. And if a person does an Aveira, they never spoil their Neshama. So if a person does an Aveira, right before they do the Aveira, the Neshama leaves them. Okay, so the neshama stays pure. But ideally, you're living a life where your neshama is inside you. Okay? And if it's not inside you, it's hovering just above you. So the neshama is all good. Then you have the ruach, which is in between, and then you have the nefesh. The nefesh is where your animal instinct is. Okay, your nefesh behema. That's where all your lusts and desires and this, that, and the other thing. It's all in the nefesh. The nefesh is the thing that pumps your blood and keeps your organs going. It's your brute life force. Okay, so you have your neshama, which is all good. You've got your nefesh, which is like an animal. And then you've got your ruach in between. And the ruach is going to decide which path it wants to go on. Does it want to go on the high path, or does it want to go on the low path? And it's going to be making decisions throughout your entire life. So really, your headquarters is really your ruach. That's important to know. The Tikkunei Zohar says that the 3 matzahs that we eat on Pesach stand for the neshama, the ruach, and the nefesh. And the first thought that he says is that the middle matzah, the Levi matzah, is the one that brings the Kohen and the Yisrael together. Okay? And how do we know that Levi brings them together? Because they're in the middle. And also because Leah, when she has her 3rd son, which she names Levi, she names him Levi because she says, now my husband will cleave to me. So in other words, Levi means togetherness. So the middle matzah, the Levi matzah, is bringing together the Kohen and the Yisrael, or it's bringing together the neshama, and it's bringing together the nefesh, all to one. Okay.
Why is it broken?
Okay, we're going to get to the broken in a second.
But
Yeah.
You mentioned about the middle matzah. You put it in half.
Yeah.
What is 2/16?
So YACHATZ,
Yeah.
YACHATZ, which is when you break it, that's 108. So you break it into two, so 108 and 108 is 216, which is Gevura. Yeah, that's what the rope shitzer says. Yeah.
Levi's the binder.
Levi's the binder, and remember this great Torah from the Avnei Nezer. Just a home run Torah, cash Torah, as they would say. Which is, I heard it from Rabbi Fran, which is, we have this thing after Shabbos called the Malava Malka. And so the classic kind of regular explanation is, what's the Malava Malka? Well, you're escorting the queen. You're escorting the Shabbos queen out. Like, Shabbos is leaving. So you're, like royalty. You wouldn't just say, so long. You would walk them to the city limits. Okay. That's not bad. But listen to this. This is 100 times better. Malava, the Avnei Nezer, remember that's the son-in-law of the Kutzker Rebbe. Malava, he says, comes from the word Levi, which means to cleave and to hold on to. So what's a Malava Malka? You're holding on to Shabbos and you're saying, I'm not letting you go. You're not walking it to the door. You're like pinning it. You're holding it down. You're staying. That's what a Malava Malka is. So the middle matzah, Levi, it's holding on to the two extremes. Okay? Okay, that's fine. But then he goes a little bit deeper. And he says, you know what? The Ruach isn't such a blank slate. It's got a little bit of the nefesh in it, and it's got a little bit of the neshama in it. You and me, we're not so clean and pure. We have both sides inside of us. And so if we really want to distance ourselves from evil, the first things that we have to do is we have to break ourselves. We have to break ourselves and separate ourselves from that which is not permissible. Break yourself. Separate yourself from that which is not permissible. And then he says something really amazing. He says that when you really do that, and he talks about the two sides of your heart. Remember, it says that you should love God b'chol levavcha. It's a very strange thing. Everyone translates it as love God with all of your heart. It's not what it says. Gemara in Bruchas says, look again. It means love God with all of your hearts. It's plural because you have your positive side and you have your negative side. And so the Ropshitzer says that when you break yourself and you remove and you distance yourself from the negativity, then later on you can eat that matzah, because that matzah that you separate, because remember, when you break it in half, you hide away that other matzah is going to become the holiest. That's going to become the Korban Pesach. That's the Afikomen. So now when you really purify yourself, you can go back and you can serve God with one complete heart, with all of your hearts.
Is the Afikomen the negativity when you're hiding it?
So first, according to this way of learning it, first you separate yourself.
Yeah.
First you separate yourself. And then But now I'll tell you something like crazy. You break the middle matzah, right? Now when you actually, everybody knows when you actually come to make motzi, what happens to that middle matzah? It goes on the bottom. You hold the two whole matzahs, and you've got the broken matzah on the bottom. So in other words, and then what happens you make the second bracha, al achilatz matzah, and all of a sudden that brokenness is now getting elevated and sanctified. There's so much going on in like even these like tiny details. All right, I just wrap it up by telling you something. Also on YACHATZ, something I've been working on for a while, which is I want to say that by YACHATZ, you see from before the world was created until Mashiach comes. How? Because before the world was created, there was only God. That's like the wholeness of the matzah, right? You know, it's kind of funny. You only want whole matzahs, and you pay more to get a box with only whole matzahs. And what's the first thing you do? Is you break them. So you break the matzah, and that correlates with Shviras HaKelim. Right? That's like this cosmic event in the beginning of creation where all the vessels shattered. So first it's just pure, it's just like Hashem, Kaviyochel. And then you break it in half, and that's Shviras HaKelim. We're getting to the creation of the world now. From before the world was created, now to the creation of the world. And then who knows which side do you hide? The smaller side or the bigger side? The bigger side, that's right. You hide it away. You know why? Because the greater portion of light in this world has been hidden away. Because God is hidden. So the larger piece is hidden because God is hidden in the world. And then, finally, you work the Seder. And the Koznitzer Rebbe says, your children bring back that matzah to you. Right? It's your children who bring it back. Your children are fixing the whole world. And then that stands for the third Beis HaMikdash and the Korban Pesach. And so you have from before the world was created to Shviras HaKelim to Galus with the light being hidden to the restoration of the third Beis HaMikdash, all within YACHATZ. Okay, everyone should have a great Pesach. Yeah.